Great, great. I'm happy to be here on OSINTCon 2025, the second day. Big thanks to the organizers of this conference. I wish you and your conference to grow and to be one of the most important ones in OSINT community. It would be good. So now I'm starting to tell you, I'm gonna tell a bit about my OSINT experience and specifically about SOWEL and OSINT framework that was created by me. So let's start. Yeah. Who am I? The first classical slide. So probably you could knew me by the Megra, the username search tool. I developed also some more OSINT tools, but I started as a software engineer, and later I became an OSINT enthusiast. I wrote some articles, guides. Yeah, I was a speaker on some meetups, conferences. I've created an OSINTerdam meetups in Amsterdam, and I founded an OSINT mindset community that is now working without even my participation. They have 50,000 subscribers in their Telegram channel, 7K members of investigation forum, by the way, very cool one, in Telegram as well. And they conducted more than 25 meetups in different cities in countries. So it would be cool, guys, if you will visit some resources of OSINT mindset community. I'm sure it would be useful for you. At the moment, I'm a chief product officer at Social Links, and I lead the development of the top intelligence and investigation products to catch the criminals, to minimize threat actors, and so on. Yeah, I was born in Ukraine, mostly lived in Russia and moved to Netherlands a few years ago. And the key thing about me that I love to investigate and to build tools to automate it and to make it easier. Yeah, a lot of useful links to my works and projects you can find on my website, soxoj.com. So please visit. Okay, and I decided to put the QR code and the URL to the SOWEL framework in the very beginning of the presentation, because I can try to explain for the next hour how I build it and what's inside. But for many of the listeners, I'm sure it would be more handy to open it, to check, yeah, and maybe to immediately ask some questions. Yeah, and I think it's a good idea. By the way, you can write anything. I'm checking the comments and we'll try to answer them, maybe even in real time. So yeah, once again, sowel.soxoj.com. That's a web page of the SOWEL framework. It's built in Obsidian. So basically that's a published set of Obsidian pages linked between each other, yeah, with some media and other cool features to help you to use it. Okay, so let's start from the introduction about digital investigations and how we expected them and how we investigate in real life. Yeah, and especially it's interesting how the professional investigators do it, or at least try to do it. Yeah, and obviously when many people think about the cutting edge digital investigations, they think about this like detectives with a cyber tooling, with some very cool interfaces like on the screenshots, on the screenshot on the left. Yeah, but we still have a plenty of different command line tools or even professional tools that are really complicated. For instance, Maltiga. Maltiga, it's not a bad platform, but it's kind of very old platform. And to use it, for 100%, you have to be a bit of engineer. Yeah, so you can see the graph on the right screenshot with many information pieces from different social media, even from like some other data sources like OCCRP, and they are all connected. And to understand what's behind this graph and what's the conclusion, what the intelligence, you have to study all connections. You have to understand like why these connections appear. Yeah, so it's kind of difficult. And the reality of digital investigations is that we have different challenges. But first of all, let's start from 101. Yeah, I'm sure that all the listeners of OSINTCon know what is OSINT, SOCMINT, digital footprint, anonymization, link analysis, but I have to tell you about my opinion, why it's not so easy to conduct social media intelligence, to get this intelligence from social media. So first of all, digital footprint. What is it? Yeah, if to try to explain it in some simple words, in few words, that's a big set of some pieces of information. Yeah, maybe some URLs, maybe some IDs, maybe some identifiers like email address, phone number, maybe just some posts on some forums in some social media that helps us to identify someone, yeah, and to collect information that could help us, for instance, to de-anonymize or to compare this footprint with another footprint and to understand is it the same person. Yeah, and obviously there are too many like sources, too many even social media platforms now. Many countries have their own platforms, have their own messengers, and I'm sure you are following this AI trend and know that now it's really simple to build a new application. New application equal to new accounts, some new database, when you can put your email addresses, and then this database could be leaked, yeah, and it will become the part of your digital footprint as well. So to track all these sources, to understand which of your actions generated some new pieces of digital footprint, you should be a specialist. The same for de-anonymization. Yeah, so every piece of digital footprint potentially could lead to the connection between your virtual identity and your real identity. And what exactly could help? Yeah, it could be even the way how you write. I mean that your write style, yeah, your write footprint, but usually it's something more simple, like the name, your real name that you put at some account on some platform. You haven't expected that this account will be seen by anyone, yeah, but still with some modern tools, such information could be extracted even if you don't expect it. And link analysis. We live in connected world, and there are many people, connections, interactions between them in main social media. But as well, there are much more the connections that we don't see. And to make the proper conclusions, we have to build these complicated graphs, and we have to extract data from many sources, and then to find like the specific patterns, understand how to extract data and explain these connections. So these topics are not so easy, but they are crucial for social media intelligence. So what challenges do we have? Overwhelming amount of information in many social media, in many other data sources like corporate data, maybe, yeah, but we're talking more about social media intelligence now. And it's just difficult to process all this data, extracting that information and get intelligence from it. The second is tools over approaches. And I think this topic was already covered during the OSINTCon, yeah, because I've heard a few times yesterday and today on other talks, that that's really a problem. We have too many tools, guys, in many cheat sheets and many lists. Yeah, I will tell a bit about this later. Yeah, and when we have just tools, not knowing how do they work and what's the methodology behind it, yeah, what's the best application of these tools, have more focus on tools than on approaches, yeah, we may not find what we was going to find. I mean that using tools would just get output of these tools. We can try to combine it to synthesize something new, yeah, but we may fail and we may not know about it. And the third obviously is a need in the knowledge of the domain, yeah, and maybe for you it could be obvious that social media is something like simple because you're a daily user, yeah, but not all people are daily users of social media, especially guys in some police departments, I mean, who are 50, 40, even 40, but I think 50, 60 years old, yeah, and they are really good in investigations, but they like are not actual users of like Instagram, of Snapchat, yeah, and for them to understand why and how to extract the data from social media to get the needed piece of information, for them it's a really difficult task, and they need to have this knowledge. But another one example, like a simpler one, is cryptocurrency. And the usual task of following the money attribution, the cryptocurrency wallet address to the sum identity requires an understanding how all this thing like with blockchain works. Yeah, and sometimes for smart contracts, for instance, yeah, it's even more difficult. So that's why without the knowledge of the domain, you again will use just standard tools and go through the shared by someone else, some random guy, the list of like suggested actions, yeah, what to do in these situations, but you won't find anything new and you won't be able to understand what to do in the new situation. So jumping from these challenges to again the topic of tools, yeah, I believe everyone know what is framework. By the way, who knows what is OSINT framework? Put a plus in the chat. I would be very happy to see that you're active, and I expect that everyone knows what is OSINT framework and visited this site at least once. Okay, cool. I see pluses. Nice. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Yeah, and I don't know. I haven't visited it like last month, but I think that it's not dated regularly. Yeah, and that's a perfect example of the list of tools. Yeah, that is kind of famous, world famous. Yeah, but it's not up to date, and it's helping you just like in the very beginning when you like don't know anything. Yeah. Of course, there are many more, updated and more professional lists of tools, like many pages on start.me service. Yeah, you can see the second screenshot of one of the cool pages created by Bruno Mortier with many tools on some specific topics and some specific categories. But such lists are also could be outdated, yeah, and they could be not aligned with your goals. And what to do? Of course, you it's obvious that you have to find for each your specific case, each specific task, the tool that's needed. Yeah, and we even have something like Google, but for OSINT tools. Yeah, that's the third screenshot. It's a smart me aggregated resource tool by my OSINT training. That's a cool idea, basically. But you can see the big red warning, the big red warning that the content was scraped from other sites and they are not responsible for anything. Yeah, so again, they just scraped, copied a lot of links, tried to categorize them, but they cannot tell you like what is useful, what is not for some cases. So again, overwhelming amount of information and tools, and it's just difficult to get what to use, when to use. Okay, what to do? Yeah, because these problems are more or less obvious for everyone who will try to dig deeper into an OSINT field. So my suggestion is to define the structure that will integrate, standardize different methods to work with open source information from social media. Yeah, and I see the following pros, like the system. Okay, we have some structure, we understand how it works, and that's why we are not lost in this like a digital wood of many different things. It's the common language. It means that if we have something described into the same way, we can discuss it with our colleagues, yeah, and we can even like compare like why X better than Y, because when we have the method how to evaluate, yeah, how to describe the applicability of some methods or some tools for some specific cases, yeah, we can better understand like what to use and why. And again, like the many talks about which tools to use, they would and they have to be minimized to the state when you're just comparing your needs and expectations with some explanations for the tool, what is possible and what is not. Okay, let's talk about social media in general. Yeah, how to use social media platforms for open source intelligence. Of course, you need to know about platform some things, like for instance, functionality. Yeah, and you can see the icons in the right part of the screen of Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Main social media, and I believe most of you like are daily users of these applications, and you know what's the functionality. Maybe like not 100%, but 90-95%. But there are other platforms like Telegram messaging platform. It's not a application for daily usage for all of you, I'm sure. Yeah, but it's pretty popular. And the set of functionality of Telegram is different from Facebook, from Instagram, and others. There are some very niche platforms like Untapped. That's an application as almost a social media for beer lovers and beer fans. And Strava, the application for runners and just guys who are doing sport. And VK is a good example of a platform that was maybe 15 years ago very similar to Facebook, because it started like a clone of Facebook, but now it's really different in terms of functionality. And some pieces of functionality are already like forgotten, removed from official applications, but you can find this functionality in API. So without knowing functionality, you won't be able to use for 100% all the ways how to extract information. Okay, the second thing is a typical user profile. What do I mean? That, of course, Facebook is used by older people and Snapchat by younger people. And Untapped is used by people who drink beer. Yeah, that's kind of obvious. But there are many other criteria, like VK. If someone is using VK, we can expect that this person like speaking Russian, or even if not, yeah, that this person is interested in like having connections with someone who is from ex-USSR territory. And in terms of like the random social media, yeah, if you are going to search information in this social media and you have some person of your interest, it's better, of course, to get some information about the current audience of social media. Who are they in terms of age, in terms of like geography, maybe interests and so on. So you will better understand what the probability for you to find your person of interest there, or what's the probability to extract some additional information that will be useful for your investigation. And their usual activity, the third thing, obviously, like for such platforms like Snapchat and Instagram, but more for TikTok, yeah, the focus on very short, quick pieces of content that would disappear probably, yeah, and knowing this pattern, you will know that you have to quickly save them and use some specific tools, yeah, and Untapped, for instance. If you know that people in Untapped are usually making check-ins and putting in these check-ins their friends, you can make a quick conclusion that you can start from some other like people who are supposedly friends of a person of interest, and then to identify the account of your person of interest. So I believe I explained it good. If not, please tell me in the chat. Yeah, so to use social media platforms, you have to really be deeper on like their functionality and the information about their typical audience. A very quick example. Yeah, sorry that it's not really fresh, but still it was an example of searching for a connection between Pavel Durov and his girlfriend. We already know that she's his girlfriend, but that time, almost a year ago, it was not obvious, yeah, and it was found by just checking photos and geotags in social media in VK, yeah. So when you can compare the metadata about photos and the like locations that you can identify by these photos, you can quickly realize that okay, these guys, as they are posting almost the same photos, they were in the same place at the same place in the same time, and it will definitely show us a connection between them. So it helps us to understand that there are some patterns in digital behavior of people. People are different, but patterns of their behavior are the same. That are like patterns of some average person, and that's by the way is really widely used by owners and creators of social media. So uploading media content which contains geotags, yeah, obviously we want to share the information. Mostly we want to share information about us visiting some cool places, to share this experience with our friends. Yeah, that's good. Also, another one example, also connected to the geolocation, that's functionality to search people nearby. What is used, by the way, a lot in dating apps. But 1 year ago, it was even accessible in Telegram. Now it's not. Yeah, and in Telegram, you could find people nearby, chats nearby, and of course, it was abused a lot by the guys selling drugs and suggesting other illegal stuff. Yeah, so I even wrote an article that time about OSINT methodology, how to find illegal content in Telegram chat. And geolocation was a very good entry point, because by geolocation, you can find a lot of accounts, scam accounts, but also some really valid accounts of the guys who were the part of organized crime and like drug trafficking activities in that region, in that place. Okay, so but which behavior patterns for the people in social media are the most common? I think that there are 3 most common patterns. The first one is creating content, and that's what creators of social media platforms want we to do. I mean, creating engaging content by users of social media is what helping to attract more people, is what helping to make them spend more time like just scrolling the pages, putting likes, commenting, and so on. The more they do it, the more they engage, the more advertisements they see, the more money owners of the social media platforms will get. Yeah, so we may think that everyone is happy, yeah, but we obviously know that spending a lot of hours in social media is not good and is not recommended. But that's one of the common behavior patterns. The second one is producing social graph. It means that if we want to spend more time, or again, like creators of social media platforms wants us to spend more time in their platform, they will help us to find connections with the people who we know. So we see like their impressions, their content, so we can interact with them. That's why many applications suggest you during the installation, after the installation, yeah, to be more correct, to import your contact book. So you give the list of phone numbers of your friends, family, co-workers, I don't know, to the social media platform. So this platform will find all their accounts and then will suggest you to subscribe to these accounts. So, okay, they can catch you. They can catch you and they will be sure that you will spend more time, because now you know that you have a digital space when all the people around you, all your closest circle of people also is visiting, yeah, and you can have an exchange of information there. And the third one is pretty obvious, like filling account with personal information. And maybe it's not obvious for everyone, but it's you're not obligated to put a lot of personal information, even to put your real name in accounts. Yeah, for some people, older people especially, it's not obvious, and they're putting as much information as they have. Yeah, the most interesting case for me was a case of some platforms to analyze DNA, but having this social media platform mechanism when you asked to put information about your relatives, yeah, and even to upload their photos, to put links for their accounts, and so on. So if you are really naive, yeah, you can upload so many pieces of content, so it will provide an intelligence for many generations. But how many patterns exist? To answer this, I suggest you to discuss the way how I formulate the process of finding such patterns. I compare it to the process of hacking in cybersecurity and what is hacking social media intelligence. Yeah, we can think about the social interactions, all possible digital social interactions, as about the system, yeah, and then a hack would be a method to exploit vulnerability in this system, yeah, and the part of the system will be some social media platform or some specific piece of functionality in this social media platform. Again, as I told you before, yeah, this functionality to upload your contact book and to get a list of accounts connected to the phone numbers from your contact book. Then what would be a vulnerability? Vulnerability is an implementation of certain weaknesses, yeah, certain weaknesses which are useful for social media intelligence. And the weaknesses is the main idea, because weaknesses are not necessarily the vulnerability. It's just a possibility to get some additional information that could be not really useful for you in all the cases, but still it would lead to the leakage of something that would help you to get an intelligence. And of course, after making such a chain of transforms from the system to patterns to weaknesses to vulnerabilities, we can get tools with a very clear explanations of which vulnerabilities and weaknesses they are using, they're exploiting to give us what we do expect. I believe it was the most difficult part of this presentation, so let me make a 1 minute break for memes. I will drink water a bit. You can watch these 2 memes and write me some questions in the chat. Okay, what do you think about these memes? Thanks. Ha ha ha. Yeah, more activity, guys, please. I would be really happy to get any feedback, not about the memes, I mean, about the presentation, and it will help me to better understand how to go further and what to explain more, what to explain maybe not so deep, to help you to use the tool and the framework that I've created. Okay, let's go. And now it's a perfect moment to start talking about the SOWEL framework. So I defined it as a set of the following list of weaknesses. Yeah, so these common technical, behavioral, or like a business weaknesses, or reasons to and possibilities to use some information. The list of functionality. So the technical possibilities, the parts of social media that will and implementations of different mechanisms that will allow to extract this information, and then techniques. And techniques are the specific steps how to find open source information, collect it, analyze it, and these techniques are really the closest thing to the tools. So knowing the techniques, we can identify which tools do we need. And in these techniques, I usually put in the SOWEL framework the corresponding tools. So to make it simpler, how to understand which tools to use. And a bit about the structure of the framework. So again, at the very bottom, we have weaknesses and functionality, the basis. Then we formulate the hypothesis. Hypotheses are usually how do we think we may get some information, may get some conclusions, and so on. Techniques are the steps which are sometimes something technical, sometimes it's just opening some web pages. And instructions are sets of techniques that are basically the standard operation procedures for some specific situations. I will cover it later. And after doing these instructions, you can get the intelligence. And the right side of the screen, you see this pyramid, but for the default example of searching accounts by username. So what is weakness in this case? The reuse of personal data. Yeah, maybe I'm not fully correctly calling here username personal data, but quite often that's something contains your first name, last name. And why it's possible? Because many social media have functionality of customizable nicknames. You can change your nickname. So when you can change your nickname, but you are reusing it on many platforms, we can built a hypothesis that person of interest had the same nickname across all their accounts. Yeah, and then the technique would be to check for the existence of accounts with the same nickname on different platforms. Yeah, and this technique would be a part of the big instruction, big list of many other techniques how to find all accounts of person of interest, because that's not the one, and it's not the best way how to find accounts. We all know that accounts with the same username maybe not related to the same person. But finally, after you will find all accounts, it will help you to compile a background check report and to get intelligence, because analyzing these accounts and their content and the interests of this person and so on, you will understand how to answer some basic question, like a main question in the beginning. For instance, can we trust this person or not? This is a screenshot of the web page for this weakness, reusing personal data, just to show you the structure of these weaknesses in my framework. So there are usually some explanation in text, how it works, why it works. There are some examples, maybe with pictures, like why it's important, and we can see here in screenshot that tells that password reuse is still a common practice. Yeah, while passwords usually don't contain personal data. Again, that's a unique piece of information that can help you to find other accounts connected with a given account, maybe through some data breaches. And usually you have a list of related weaknesses of typical techniques, and you can quickly jump from the weakness to the tools that will help you to use this weakness and to get additional data. For instance, for the weakness creating content, we have a list of typical techniques. Most of them, I think, maybe were covered in previous talks and will be covered later on other talks of OSINTCon 2025, such as extract metadata from the user-generated content. Again, geotags. Yeah, or study shared screen content, that what I will show you a bit later, or search for biometrics data, like for the face of a person or for his voice. Yeah, so from the content, we can extract many interesting things, and obviously we have some tools which helps us to do it. Yeah, but to be able to navigate, orient in this overwhelming amount of tools, it's better to use this structure to understand what we are searching for initially. And that's, by the way, the example that I just told you about. Study shared screen content. That's a specific technique that has a number SOTL 3.5 in SOWEL framework, and that's a real case that I had 2 years ago, if I'm not wrong. I helped to law enforcement agencies to investigate the trend of the young guys who were collecting money to conduct school shootings because they were frustrating after bullying in schools. Yeah, but obviously it was really uncontrollable trend, and some of the actors, they were really active, and there was a need to de-anonymize them. And one of these guys, I obviously changed the email address, the name, yeah, so they are fake. He had no personal data anywhere in his accounts, in Roblox, in YouTube, in other forums, in Discord, yeah, but he had streams of Minecraft, Roblox, other games, yeah, and sometimes during these streams, he switched from games to his Steam application, to his browser, and I found a very specific moment, very specific frame in one video when he switched between his Google accounts. What do I mean? That he clicked in the top right corner the button with his photo, Google photo, and switched from one Google account to another one that was logged in his browser. And of course, it was possible to see his email addresses, his names, even these photos. Yeah, but having two email addresses, I believe you understand that it's really easy to like de-anonymize the person to get all other connected accounts, the name, the photo, and so on. And it basically helped to identify who's behind these anonymous accounts. Also, at some other video, this guy was going to change his photo in Discord, and he shared the screen when he was choosing another photo from his folder with photos. Yeah, it also showed some other faces of his relatives. So in other investigation, it could help a lot to identify all the connected people. And knowing that it's actually some useful technique, we can expect that there are some tools that helping to do it. I tried 2 years ago to find such tool. I didn't find, so that's why I built my tool. It was just a proof of concept. I named it Cast Reaper, and it basically did the same that we usually do scrolling such videos. So like just to open at some like time frames, yeah, and checking if there are any windows with text, if there are any text, analyze this text, understand is it like email address, phone number, username, and so on. So this tool still works, I believe, yeah, but with AI, obviously, now we can extract from videos even more. Another one example of weakness and connected techniques is that we all get into data breaches. Let's be honest, there is no 100% safe system in internet. Yeah, and when you register it somewhere, you may and you have to expect that all the data that you will put in this platform will be leaked, will be breached. Yeah, and the example in this slide is a case that I show pretty regularly of de-anonymization of Cyclone. That's a guy who was behind Dogolachan image board in Brazil and who was behind Susana Massacre, a school shooting case. So the law enforcement, they were interested in finding, identifying who's behind this account, and it took really like a time to find. But now, after many new leaks and breaches appeared, yeah, it's obvious that this process could be really simplified just because of this guy putting his email address and his nickname on some services before, much before these events, but allowing us now to connect these identities. What do I mean? That in some services, in some platforms, he registered by the username Cyclone, but he used his personal email address. Yeah, and if someone is in data breaches, you may expect that there are some additional digital identifiers that will help you to connect the current identity of person of your interest with other identities, or to get some additional pieces of information. Okay, some other techniques, and maybe we will do a short break for the questions. Yeah, check nicknames we use to find another account, pretty obvious one. Yeah, and again, there are many tools, like the most popular one in web, that's What's My Name application. Common line applications like Sherlock, like Magra, yeah, they all are working on the same principle, that people are using their nicknames, and there is a high chance to find another accounts just to like searching and putting this username into the other URLs in other platforms. Another one technique is to try to register, yeah, and it's not the only one technique, yeah, but it's the technique that, in my opinion, like helped to many platforms to be successful. Who do I mean? Like Epios, OSINT Industries, Noemosini, Castro Clues, Lower Kyber, all they are working on the principle that we can use some private endpoints that contains like some email addresses, some phone numbers, and that gives us back some information. And the very basic example of such endpoint, such behavior is when you're trying to register or to restore access, recovery access to your account, and you're putting some email address and clicking OK, try to log in, something else, and the platform tells you, so sorry, account is already registered, yeah, and maybe reveals you a part of information like are you sure that it's your account, yeah, and show you some blurred image and part of name. That's a behavior that I saw in Contact. Or this platform may not show you anything, but still, if you will open the developer tools in browser and check what was the output for this endpoint, you may find like some additional information that is just not used on front end. Yeah, and that's what I actually saw for other platforms. And imagine how interesting it could be for the mobile applications, because developers of mobile applications usually don't care about like hiding and minimizing this information. So that's why the reverse engineering of applications to search for such methods can help a lot with creating of new tools and basically like you making connections to the new platforms, new data sources for the email addresses, phone numbers, and other identifiers for your social media intelligence purposes. Another one very interesting technique, what is not widely used, yeah, that's searching for accounts on other platforms. So obviously, if you found some account for a person in Facebook, you may expect that there is a similar account in Instagram for the same person. How would you search for this account? Maybe just by like copying name, pasting it in Instagram. Yeah, then you will scroll the list of similar accounts and will compare by photo, yeah, by face. So it could be automated, and that's basically the cool stuff that we have automated in our social links investigation software. Yeah, you can see the screenshot of our social links professional, which allows you to search in Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, many other social media in seconds by face and name. What do I mean? I mean that this method, like what I explained, yeah, will be fully automatically like executed on the back end. Yeah, so the name would be taken, yeah, put it into the search bar in social media, and then by comparison of the face, yeah, you will get a few results, and that's very effective, and that's really cool because it allows you to get additional accounts of the person of interest in really seconds. Okay, another one really cool example what I like, because advertisements is a fuel of social media platforms, and just with retrieving of associated advertisements, you can find really obvious connections. And unfortunately, it's not obvious from the screenshot on this slide, but it's network of botnets which are spreading the specific advertisements, pushing the narratives, yeah, but it's possible to find connections between them. Mainly because almost all the main social media, they have their transparency centers where you can find who exactly created some specific advertisements, yeah, maybe find their contacts, maybe even find an amount of money that they used to spread it across the social media. Okay, we have 10 minutes left. I think I will try to go quicker over the last slides, and then we'll cover the questions in the comments. Another one cool technique that I think is understandable for many of our listeners is iteration through numeric identifiers, because still in 2025, many social media and platforms, they use like just incremental IDs for their accounts. But obviously, there are many exceptions and there are many interesting additional mechanisms. I had a talk about that on LoHa conference in Paris, so you can watch the YouTube video called Hardcore OSINT when I told about it. There are many other functionalities that are helping us to extract more information for social media intelligence. For instance, communication. Yeah, because we have messengers in our social media platforms, we have mechanisms to post something and so on. We have check-ins. That's what I covered for Untapped for this example, but there are many other applications in social media uses this mechanism. There are such mechanisms as like sharing access for something, for documents, for photos, for some resources. I had a talk about leakages of social identifiers, and specifically with examples of how you could, a few years ago, use links to the shared documents in Yandex to understand who is the owner of this document and to find more information. Yeah, and what's the, not the conclusion, but the next part of this, having a lot of interesting techniques, you may be overwhelmed by them, by their amount, and what to do if you just need SOP to work at some specific situation. That's what I had in mind, and I've created a few instructions that help for specific cases. For instance, here on the slide, you can see the instruction, the playbook on how to confirm a connection between people. That's a pretty common task. I mean, if you are investigating the insurance fraud and you have to check the connection between two people, or you're conducting due diligence, and again, connection between people can help you to assess the risk of some like expected due diligence deal. So I separated techniques in three groups: planning techniques, collection techniques, and analysis techniques, accordingly to the OSINT cycle. The planning techniques and the list of these techniques allow you to understand which sources to choose, how to prepare yourself for the collection of data. Yeah, so basically, if you're familiar with intelligence as a discipline, yeah, that's a necessary step in the beginning. You have to be prepared. You have to identify which sources and how you will check. Then collection techniques. That are techniques which will help you to identify the tools and to use them to extract the information. And analysis, correspondingly, that's what will help you to extract like additional data from this information to find some pieces that will help you to solve the puzzle and to get intelligence. A couple of words about genetics of SOWEL. So I used my previous experience in cybersecurity, and I developed it to be similar and structured in the logic, like structured CWE or MITRE attack framework or disarm framework, which I really recommend you to check because it's covering many things related to the social media influence. My recommendations how to use SOWEL. First of all, it will help you to quickly study some specific techniques which you're interested from. You can just open the website, put the keyword, find the page, read it. Okay. The second one is to study weaknesses to improve your OSINT skills systematically. What do I mean? That this is the system, yeah, that's probably not only created by me, that like many specialists have in their heads. Yeah, and just studying these weaknesses, you may understand how to correctly think during some investigation process. And the third thing, that's like SOP, that's playbooks, instructions that I showed, which can help you to make your daily tasks. And once again, quick recap. Yeah, so why to use SOWEL? Why is useful? It contains ready-to-use instructions for typical OSINT tasks. It has the structured theory of social media intelligence, and there are many descriptions and explanations for the techniques. So you don't have to trust blindly to some tools. You may read and understand how do they work. So yeah, thank you for your attention. We have 3 minutes. I will quickly go through the questions. Yeah, you may add me in Telegram. That would be the best and the quickest way to contact me. And please check the SOWEL framework. I will stay on this slide. Let's go from the very beginning. What do we have from questions?